Ooh, free stuff. Nice. Alright, let's get back into it. I believe, yeah, this is the last chapter. I think. I don't know, maybe it has 12 chapters and it didn't save. No, wait. Actually, yeah, we might have a little bit to go. Charizard card from Topps Pokemon Stage 3. Ooh, nice. This was the first time I'd ever woke up with such clarity. It's 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. I had made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. I changed quickly and descended to the deserted floor, blah 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 blah. To the deserted lower floor. It appeared that my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday, I just unilaterally declared that I would be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. And 4 Beanie Babies? McDonald's toys? Aww. Last one just lost the stingray. Aww. Dang, that's a shame. Slided jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. Just as I was finishing up breakfast, Mom rose groggily from her slumber. Hi, Keiichi. You're up early. Is this some sort of school event? Not really. Answering bluntly, I picked up my bag and stood, after stuffing my 2 slices of bread down my throat. You're leaving already? What about lunch? If you don't wait a bit, don't wait a bit, I can't make it. I waited for her to make my lunch, then if I waited for her to make my lunch, then it would end up being the same time as usual. If I did that, it would raise the chances of me running into Rena and Mion on the way. Yes, from today onwards, I was going to school alone. One I still have is Bumble the bee, Spinner the spider, and Slither the snake. Oh, those are good ones. Yeah, we used to have a lot of Beanie Babies lying around when I was younger. Hang on a sec. I gotta move the model down a little bit. I'll be fine for today. Then, what will you do for lunch? I'll slip out and buy some bread or something at the store. Really? Then here's some lunch money. Be sure to bring me back the receipt. I took the 1,000 yen bill from Mom and slipped it into my pocket. It's pretty early. Is Rena-chan up this early as well? No, just me. Did you tell Rena-chan that you're leaving early? I have no reason to tell her every little detail now, do I? Finding it difficult answering the onslaught of questions, I made an annoyed face. Tell Rena that I went ahead when she comes. Got more cards? Pokemon cards? Pokemon Grand Trial Showdown graphic novel? Ooh. Ooh, that sounds cool. Hey, Keiichi, wait. It's not that I didn't trust my parents. I just couldn't rely on them. They couldn't help me. I could only hope that they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. For the first time since I moved here, I headed down the road to school alone. Up until now, I had always walked down the same path at the same time each day. So I always met with the same people at the same places. But today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody was at the places where I would have normally met them. Of course, Rena was in the spot where we usually meet, and there wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with me on. The length of the trees, shadows, the morning air, and the brightness of the sun. It was a completely different type of morning from what I was used to. Without a doubt, it felt strange. It left me with the impression that I had destroyed the illusion Hinamizawa had set up for me before it had enough time to prepare all the props needed to deceive me. Ooh, ran out of breath there. Mostly the restaurant episode and the one where they go to the abandoned house. Oh, sweet. My, Keiichi-kun, you're so early today. Is everyone meeting early this morning? The person who called out to me was someone that we always passed by as we were taking a walk along the edge of the fields. The name was, I forgot. Of course, that wasn't the spot where we usually passed each other. I woke up early today, so I thought it would be a good change of pace. That's all. I threw out a random excuse. What about Rena-chan and Mia-chan? Are you by yourself today? Well, yeah. I was being asked the same type of questions my mom was asking. So I answered them in the same uninteresting, vague manner. It wasn't funny being asked where Rena was each time I passed by someone. But maybe it was to be expected. It's because for so long, we were always together so amicably. Even I felt that if I let my guard down, we could still be... Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. Spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, don't you? Beep beep! Volume 2 of the Go-Go Power Rangers comic. Oh, sweet. Car horn blared out from out blah, 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 blah. Damn, we haven't even started. I'm already getting tongue-tied. A car horn blared out from out of nowhere. Even though I was walking, lost in thought, that horn was way too close. A mechanical behemoth barreled at me from behind, catching me completely off guard. By the time I turned around, the van's hulking chassis was almost on top of me. I'd seen plenty of cars veer to the opposite shoulder to avoid pedestrians, but this car was doing the opposite. It felt like there was somebody on the opposite shoulder, and the van was swerving in my direction to avoid them. The blissfully ignorant train of thought delayed me from realizing something much, much more important. That large mass was hurtling right at me. Was it going to hit me? Okay, Sage. The inside of my head instantly flooded with a painfully cold liquid. That moment, the scene before me, no, time itself, had frozen. In the silence of that frozen moment, I compared the van so close that I had no way to dodge it. My body, the upper half, twisted awkwardly in order to look behind me. There was no way I could dive out of the way in my current position. If I lost focus now, this moment would unpause. I would probably be plowed over, caught in this silly pose. Bend my upper body towards the paddy by the side of the road. If I bent far enough, I'd get away with just being hit by the side of the rear view mirror. Or side view mirror, sorry. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, the temporal stasis was shattered by the deafening sound of the van. Silver Tempest cards with Finnegan, fire type, 60 HP. Ooh, I like Finnegan. The side mirror struck my shoulder, sending me spinning off into the air like a top, and locked in my contorted position. Sent tumbling through the air, I crashed into the muddy paddy by the side of the road. My entire body was soiled and drenched, but the choice I had made in that instant was unmistakably for the best. I was covered in mud, but when the alternative was being hit by the car, it was the closest I could be to being unscathed. Rising up from the paddy, I had enough in me to glare over at the stopped van and yell profanities at the driver. I'm not sure if he was able to see me, but the van sped off suddenly. Wait! Damn it! This was what they call a hit and run, wasn't it? Couldn't help but continue yelling out profanities. Fuck you! I ain't having that shit. Lead was 1 basic energy. Search your deck for a supporter card and reveal it. Put it back in your deck. Put it back into your hand. And Live Coal does basic 10 damage with 1 fire energy. Live Coal. Sounds like a... Kinda sounds like a band name. The disgrace from being covered in mud hurt me more than any physical wound. I slogged through the muddy paddy and made my way back to the road. This is a crime, goddammit! Shit! I'll track you down and sue you. If I go looking for a van, I'm sure to find it in this little village. The path I was on had rice paddies on either side, and it had become so narrow that 1 car could barely fit through. It wasn't a place you could tear full speed down in a car, let alone pass by pedestrians. Not only was it a narrow road, but the car just now was closer to my side of the road than the other when it went past me. Network shows Finnegan running out in park. Nice. Even as I cursed, I was desperately trying to suppress the dark cloud rolling up within me. This wasn't just a hit and run. That car just now was trying to run me over, wasn't it? Thinking back, I did feel like there had been a car creeping up on me slowly for a while. That's right. Since I parted ways with that person taking a walk, I had that feeling the whole time. If it had wanted to pass me, then it had no shortage of chances. Normally, I would have felt suspicious and turned around sooner. But I was lost in thought, and now I was kicking myself for not realizing that it was there sooner. And then, when the path became narrow, and there was no one else in sight, he floored it. If I had not hesitated for even a moment, the result would have been to no laughing matter. As the adrenaline rush from nearly being run over subsided, and the realization of just how terrifying the preceding events were sunk in. There was no doubt about it. That van was intentionally trying to hit me. A cold, vicious sweat seeped from my scalp, slid down my back before dribbling off. I struggled to avoid falling into a panic. There was still a possibility that this was really just an accident. Calm down, Keiichi. Also, don't be so naive, Keiichi. Being that lax will get you killed next time. You need to always be on your toes. Don't give them any openings. My enemy was really out to kill me. The next time, they would use a more reliable method. Feebas, water type with 30 HP. Ascension with 1 basic energy. Search your deck that evolves for a card that evolves this Pokemon. Splash does basic 10 damage with 1 water energy. It's amazing how Splash does nothing, but in the cards it does 10 damage. That's kind of funny. I splash you! Psh! Ah, I'm melting! Sorry. If that time came, and I was acting like I was now, I, being covered in mud, was the price I had paid for my own naivete. Covered in mud, but without injury. Not even a sprain. I guess this is what you would call a silver lining. Began walking again, this time cautiously. I wouldn't even show a hint of carelessness. I had suspected only Rena and the others up until now. No, it was because I suspected them that I had believed there were no other enemies. Oishi-san said so, didn't he? There was a possibility that all the families of the village were involved. Auric shows Feebas laying in water, asleep from its bubbles. Aww. Was I really mired so deeply in the situation that I had no choice but to try and carry on as usual? Wouldn't it be safest just to hold myself up in my house? But the moment I abandoned my regular routine, everyone around me would abandon theirs as well. That was just too horrifying of a thought. I recalled the tales Oishi-san told me of when Himeza was still called Onigafuchi. A frightening tale of an entire village of demons, hunting their prey, surrounding them, and eating them alive. One must not interfere with the demons. Hi, Carrion! Welcome to the stream! How are you? You just missed a hit and run. Or near hit and run. One must pretend to not see it. The enemy were numerous. All the village families. The villagers, with their unwavering faith in the curse, would do nothing to help me. The strong, sudden flash of sunshine made me slightly dizzy. I had no idea what was going on anymore. When I suspected it was the work of a man, I would catch a glimpse of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And when I suspected it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, someone would poke their head out. Was that a coincidence? What was the coincidence? What was intentional? Who was my enemy? Who was just a bystander? Who? Sorry. It evolves from Milotic, still water type with 130 HP. Ooh, okay. No. What I really, truly wanted to know was, how did I end up with a proverbial bullseye painted on my back? Eventually, an answer in a form I could understand will appear. I don't care when that will happen. Because until then, I cannot die. That alone fueled my resolve to fight and will keep me alive. I have become an owl. Water Arrow was 1 water energy. Attack does 50 damage. Metal Wave does 60 damage with both 1 water and basic energy. Ooh, nice. I remember seeing the metal bat in the gym storage shed, but there was a padlock on the door, barring my entry. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at school. I circled around the school grounds impatiently. All I could find were things like pieces of lumber. Nothing that I could bring into the classroom easily. Then, I had an epiphany. I should search inside the classroom. If it was something in the classroom to begin with, then there wouldn't be a problem. I could tell that everyone's indoor shoes were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early. Nobody else was here yet. I wondered, what could I find in the classroom? I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat. But it couldn't be helped at this point. Till the gym storage shed was open, I needed to find a substitute. Lingering hint of naivety whispered that there was no way I would be attacked at school. But such soft ideas would no longer protect me. To think that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I had once thought impenetrable. In the worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. That was an incredibly frightening thought. But I believe that not considering the worst case scenario would have been even more frightening. Anyways, I will survive. So long as I lived, I would definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Definitely. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. That much was to be expected. There was no way there would be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of an emergency, there was probably nothing I could do but swing my own chair around. My gaze landed on the lockers that had come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Mion used to store her pile of games was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. Oh yeah, there was supposed to still be a tracksuit in my locker. Seeing me covered in mud would be strange. I should go change later, but first, I needed a weapon. If one of my classmates came, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. I swiftly began opening lockers one by one. They were mostly just filled with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. An umbrella. If I couldn't find anything better, then this would have to be my weapon. I was about to give up on finding anything decent when I opened the locker that held exactly what I wanted. It was without a doubt a metal bat. It was well worn and pretty beaten up. There was no doubt it was usable. In that locker that reeked of mold, there also hung a baseball uniform. It's probably the locker of a student in a Pee-wee league or something like that. If that was the case, then he'd probably ask for it back. At that time, I could hear the voices of children scuffling their way noisily from the hallway. Among them, I could make out Rika, Chan, and Satoko. Good morning! My, you're quite early this morning, Keiichi-san. I nonchalantly hid the bat I was holding behind my back. What is with your outfit? You're covered in mud. Yeah, I had a little incident. I'm going to change now, so cut me some slack. That said, I began taking off my clothes. Taiko began to blush just as I expected her to. Changing in front of a lady? Have you no tact at all? I would think that a lady staring at someone who was changing would be the one lacking the tact. Well, you got her there. There's no changing room for the boys, so just deal with it. As Satoko feigned disgust, she went into the hall, still blushing. Conversely, Rika-chan began to stare at me while preparing to stare at me. If Rika-chan is a lady as well, then I don't think it would be appropriate for you to be watching. I'm not a lady, so it's fine. Oh, well, this is getting awkward. She deliberately pouted and looked at me with upturned eyes. Then, starting now, you're a lady. If I'm a lady, then I suppose I must. Rika-chan, appearing to be satisfied with being considered a lady, made her way to join Satoko in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Rika-chan stopped suddenly and turned back towards me. Are you going to stop playing baseball? Seems Rika-chan has noticed the bat. Yeah, just, you know. I was feeling a bit out of shape, so I thought I'd just practice my swing. I think it's wonderful you're taking care of your health. She was talking like an old lady despite her appearance. Just saying that, Rika-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked back at me once more. Please don't lose that bat. Seems she already knew I took it out of someone's locker. There's no name on the locker door. I don't know whose bat it was, but I would be borrowing it until they complained. Wouldn't be for long, just until the gym storage shed was opened. After quickly changing to the tracksuit, I checked the time. Still had plenty of time before class began because it came so early. I took the bat in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. That was, of course, to practice my swing. I needed to make it known that I would always have a bat on me so I could practice my swing. At some point, the sunlight had become even stronger. Disregarding my classmates as they made their way to school, I took my position in the shadow of the school building. Practice that swing! I wasn't an academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. I might get muscle pain if I just suddenly started swinging. I should at least start out with some warm-ups. I doubt anyone would think I was doing something out of the ordinary, which was the exact opposite of my mental state. I gripped the bat and swung lightly. The bat was by no means light. The weight would make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only pray that the moment I needed to use this as a weapon would never come. Just carrying around could deter attacks against me. At least, that's what I hoped. Huh? K-chan? What are you doing? Being bombarded with such a hysterical voice, I jumped. Whoa! Keiichi-kun, are you on the baseball team? The baseball team? Was running me on. I was surprised to hear you went off ahead. What are you doing, Kei-chan? Can't you tell by looking? Practicing my swing for the championship. You can say it's part of my diet if you want. Diet? Kei-chan, are you really that fat? Bet you didn't know, but I actually have a bigger belly. Oh my goodness, it's plump and jiggles. Goddamn. Rena, you don't have to imagine anything weird like that. To disrupt Rena from imagining something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily. Well then, I hope you make it to the regionals at least. This old man will cheer you on. Regionally speaking, it seems that Oshima High is pretty strong. They say their southpaw Kameda-kun is amazing. Good luck. Seems they made me out to be some local prodigy, but oh well. Well, if I really did make it to the championship, it would be a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and the catcher. I pitched a ball, then run past that ball I just threw and change over to being the catcher in a burst of super incredible and explosive speed. Laughed proudly at that ludicrous image. Coming back to my senses, I smashed the bat against the ground. Damn it! What am I laughing at? Oh, you're starting to scare people now. I pounded the ground hard over and over. With each impact, the reverberation traveling through the bat stung my hands. Did it make me smile like that? Ow. Ow. Don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone. No matter how many times I tell myself that. That made me smile like that, Al. I already knew quite well that there were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. But I just couldn't believe it. That kind of split personality exists. Did that kind of split personality exist? Like how Ren confessed to a doctor they were simply being possessed by Oyasho-sama? In other words, did a supernatural being like Oyasho-sama really exist? And was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah, that would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along. Everyone was just Oyasho-sama's fault. Damned fool Keiichi Maebara. Come on now. I yelled out, drawing all the power from the pit of my stomach. I raised my butt violently into the air. Stop being so soft! Screamed out with all my might. I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. I'm starting to think the stress is starting to get to him. With every impact, my weakness was being beaten down. Smash. Forget. Smash. Don't be soft. Smash. Know your enemy. Smash. Like hell I'd let them kill me. My shoulders heaving up and down as my ragged breathing. I heard the first bell ring just as I calmed down. Itchy back. A gasp was a sudden realization. That was the final bell. Felt all the tension drained from me. I let out a deep breath. My mind was in a mode state for much of the entire day. I didn't feel like I was awake, but it didn't feel like I was asleep either. I feel like, yeah, a long time ago I've had moments like that for like a long time. Or like, I guess you're kind of like running on autopilot. You kind of don't remember what you did during the day or what if you learned anything. Kind of feels like your head's kind of underwater. I couldn't say it felt especially comfortable, but I felt a kind of relief that the sanctity of the school part of my day, that the sanctity of the school part of my daily life had yet to be violated. How long would I have to keep living like this? I could only grit my teeth and bear with it, as this living hell slowly gnawed away at me. Keiichi-kun, come on. It's club time. Club time. Sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my senses. Come on, Kei-chan. Come on, Kei-chan. Stop spacing out. Bring your desk. Bring your desk. Everyone was moving their desks together as usual. That's right. It was happy fun club time. But I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuck the contents of my desk into my bag and as I prepared to go home. It was a weak-handed gesture to avoid actually having to say, I'll be going home now. What's this, Kei-chan? You planning on going home right away again? Mion sounded quite disappointed. Just not in the mood. Could you just let me be for a while? One of my words spilled from my mouth, matched Mion's disapproving glare. Felt like the air in the room had dried out. Satoko looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps was dissuaded by the mood. She swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said anything. Took that to mean I could leave if I wanted. But the collective gaze of the four of them, like the tiny pins used to mount. But the collective gaze of the four of them, like the tiny pins used to mount an insect in the display, held me in place. Rena was the one who cut through the heavy mood. Keiichi-kun, you just didn't like playing with girls, I guess. She said in such a melancholic tone that sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. If this pain was going to kill me, I wanted to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore at my chest, violently tearing out the pins that held me in place. That's not it at all. I wouldn't be hurting myself by saying anything more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned away and exited the classroom. They didn't speak a word to me as I left. Damn. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. I firmly squeezed the grip of the bat, which was already soggy from sweat. Realizing that, I wiped it down with my sleeve. If something were to happen, I wouldn't want it to be slippery. Since this morning, I've become especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while I'm walking, my ears pricked up and saw out threatening sounds and presences that could be closing in. That was why I could hear it. Without a doubt, there were footsteps. Those footsteps matched up perfectly with mine for a while. From what I could sense, it was just one person. But I have no intention of being careless. Did they intend to follow me like that car this morning? Till we were in a good location to assault me? Then it wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking and looked back. Artwork shows Milo take under the ocean water on an abandoned ship. Ooh, that sounds cool. The wooded path crowded with trees responded with silence, as if there was nobody there to begin with. But I wouldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps were following me. Just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped as well. Meaning that person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was, without question, proof that I was their target. I held my breath, waiting for that presence to panic and start moving again. The trees rustled with the sound of the wind. The Higurashi also joined in the dissonant chorus, trying to throw my focus into disarray. Had 5 minutes passed? Or had it been like this for a whole 30 minutes? It was so hard to breathe that I might have suffocated. It seemed that I would be the first one to panic. Without a doubt, he was lurking in the shade of that tree with bated breath. Then, I'd make the first move. Fix my grip on the bat, raised it up to my shoulder to be ready to swing at any time. Hey! I know you're there! Next up, Chimeco, psychic type with 70 HP. Ooh! With all my might, I screamed at whoever it was hiding in the shade of the trees. But the presence in the shade, didn't budge. Till the moment I found them, they had no intention of revealing themselves. I know already. I know you're there. I screamed out angry at them again, but even still, they didn't move at all. Then I'll go over there myself. With all due diligence, I approached step by step. Stepping into the tree's shadow, I saw a human figure there. That figure was curled up like a small animal. Rena! When she realized I had found her, her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but wasn't going to speak a word. Did you have some business with me? I wouldn't accept that silence and screamed the question at her. Not really. It's just, Rena was in a panic, with tears welling up in her eyes. Dreaming tone with one psychic energy. During your opponent's next turn, if an energy card is attached. Oh, okay. Go? Okay, Carrion. Thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you later. Hitting down does a basic 30 damage with both one psychic and basic energy. Very nice. Auric shows Chimeco floating outside a cave area. But it's obvious she had been following me. What about the club? Since you're not, I'm not. That shouldn't matter. Don't mind me and just play. But I'm just worried about you. Thinking about how I'd been acting up until now, it was not hard to imagine my behavior could have been perceived as strange. So Rena was concerned, and at a quick glance, that's how it would seem. But I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. Hey Flash, welcome to the stream. How are you? Even if that was the case, she still wouldn't have had to do something like try to tail me. She would have called out to me when I was leaving and gone right out with me. But Rena didn't do that. She kept her distance from me and matched my walking speed. On top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps and deviously tried to hide her presence from me. Then, after she realized I noticed she was there, she held her breath as she tried to hiding from me. Good? Did Rena and the crew morb on you yet? Not yet, but they're about to. She wore a timid expression that would force one to take pity on her. But, without doubt, she was tailing me. Stop following me. How? Still glaring at Rena and continuing walking onwards. After I walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again. So I yelled at her once more. I told you not to follow me. But my house is in the same direction. Then walk ahead of me. I'll stop walking once I can't see you anymore. I moved out of the way and waved my bat violently to urge her forward. I'd like to go home together with you. Dracloak, psychic type with 90 HP. Dracloak. Trying to remember which one that is. Making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. That agitated me to no end. Spooky Shot does basic 40 damage with one psychic energy. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, then you should have called out to me. Now you're just blurting out random lies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Seemed that her seeing season. It seemed that the seasoning was anger with that. Let me try that again. It seemed that the seething anger within me was written all over my face. Even without me saying anything, Rena had understood that what I was feeling inside. If you get it, then go. I swung the bat, urging her again to walk. Rena looked back and forth between me and the bat, started walking hesitantly, then stopped again. Go on then, hurry. I'm going. So please, stop with the bat. It's scary. Rena guarded herself while pointing at me holding the bat. She may have realized that I wasn't planning on using this bat for baseball. I lowered the bat, but still guardedly opened the way for her. Go. There's no problem now, is there? There was nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly so as not to set me off. As I watched her pass by, she stopped completely, having barely moved at all. Hey, don't stop. Then a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. While rubbing my eyes with my left hand, I swung blindly with the bat in my right, protecting the small opening I had presented. But Rena didn't even try to attack during that opening. Attack? No. She hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. As her skirt settled, so did the silence. That moment, the voice inside me immediately warned me of the impending danger. I was caught by surprise. Beldum is steel type with 60 HP. Ooh, nice. Smell of the air had changed. Without me realizing it, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity was about to befall me. It's like the air had suddenly become invisible, concrete. Like Rena and I were locked into space. Rena didn't move an inch. Also unable to move, I stared at her back. And neg lift was one of basic energy. Taco does basic 20 damage with both one steel and basic energy. Nice. Rena was the first to break the silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. It felt like I just witnessed her shift from Rena into the other person who looks like Rena. But the voice was the one I knew well, which filled me with a kind of bewildering pity. Carelessly, felt relief upon hearing that pitiful voice. Well, excuse me, but, can I ask you something? Arik shows Bellion floating in a cave. Oh, nice. Too shy to even turn around, Rena squeezed her voice out desperately, as she trembled. What? Well, why do you have a bat, I wonder? Question Rena asked was by no means unexpected. I can carry whatever I want. But you didn't have one up until today. Why so suddenly? It's alright if I decide to do something suddenly, isn't it? Is it strange that I have a bat? Because, Keiichi, you're not the kind of person to play baseball. It's weird. I couldn't tell what kind of answer she was looking for. I was getting tired of answering her. I just suddenly got the urge to play baseball. Is that so weird? It's weird. She answered instantly, and that annoyed me slightly. Last from Silver Tempest, supporter, worker, draw 3 cards. Ooh, okay. I just suddenly wanted to play baseball. And I wanted to practice my swing, so I'm carrying around a bat. What's so strange about that? Strange. Weird. Definitely. Why has Keiichi-kun also... Your ramblings are annoying me. Is that strange for me to have an interest in sports? Ren is poking holes and Keiichi is trying to hold on to his anger. Let the hate flow through you. Do it. Now Rick shows the worker girl in the cave smiling with her left hand resting on the shovel. Ooh. I tried to sound a bit more threatening to end the conversation. Until my suspicions about Rena were cleared, I had no obligation to answer her questions. I'm sorry. Don't get so angry. Rena still didn't turn around and spat out the words of apology one after the next. Just one last thing. Tell me one last thing. I don't feel like talking anymore. Hurry up and go. I yelled loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her as in such a pathetic state caused my heart to ache sorely. But even though she was afraid, she suddenly kept herself from moving. Before I was able to threaten her again, Rena asked her final question. Why is that bat the same too? What did she mean by this bat was the same? I had no idea what she was talking about. What are you saying? I mean, why is even the bat the same? I don't understand what you mean at all. Say it clearly. Even still, Rena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she screamed. I mean, why is the bat the same as Satoshi-kun's? Satoshi being... Huh? On hearing that name out of the blue, I became dumbfounded for a brief moment. By Satoshi, did she mean the student who transferred out last year? No. That couldn't be. Rena tried to cover it up by saying transferred, but Oishi-san told me quite clearly he was missing. He was the student who sat in my seat up until last year. He was believed to have been demoned away by Yashiro-sama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The aunt he lived with was killed the night of the Watanagashi by a drug addict. Not long after that, he suddenly vanished and was now missing. That Satoshi and I were... What? My gaze fell into the bat in my hands. Could it be Satoshi Hojo? It was a bit difficult to see, but that was what was written on the white tape at the end of the bat. I see. So this was Satoshi's bat. Oh. This was Satoshi's bat. Since nobody was using it, I borrowed it. That's not a problem, is it? That's not it. The way Greta said that made it seem like this bat was something that should never be touched. Like it was some sort of offering at his drying, or a memento of the deceased. I could only stand there, perplexed and unable to respond. Rena continued speaking without waiting for a reply. Why is it that you're doing the exact same thing Satoshi-kun did when it happened to him? Rena was talking about more than just a bat belonging to Satoshi. It was the same with Satoshi-kun. He joined the baseball team, but he didn't really like baseball. What does that have to do with me? Satoshi-kun also suddenly started walking around with a bat one day. He joined the team, but he wasn't the type to play sports. What about it? I closed my mouth before I could say that out loud. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Rena is trying to tell us something important. Satoshi-kun also one day came to school all by himself all of a sudden. Just like Keiichi-kun. Then one day, he suddenly started practicing his swing. Just like Keiichi-kun. Then one day, he suddenly began carrying the bat around with him. Just like Keiichi-kun. Then one day, he suddenly... What? Rena swallowed her words. Rena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. It was then that I could finally digest the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. That was... what was the meaning of this? Up until now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. I never paid much thought to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything of what he'd done. My actions today should have been my own creation after all. After all the planning I had done. But they have been the exact same as Satoshi's? And Satoshi? No, more importantly, both Satoshi and I acted the same, and there was a good possibility that what happened after would be the same. Rena, that day, what happened to Satoshi? Promo cards, Deoxys V-Star, Psychic type with 270 HP. Yeah, I was locked in for a bit, hang on. Psychic Javelin does 190 damage with 2 Psychic and 1 basic energy. V-Star Power. Star Force does 60 damage with 1 Psychic energy. Nice. Artwork shows a full artwork of Deoxys speed, form, and space. Rena knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to the guy in the past. Rena knew what was going to happen to me. Answer me, Rena. Satoshi, what happened to him? With that, I grabbed Rena's shoulder and violently and forcibly turned her around to face me. As I faced her, I felt a jolt travel through my entire body. I told you, Keiichi-kun. It was that person that I didn't know. At least, it definitely wasn't the Rena Ryugu I'd been talking to up until now. The voice just now didn't have a trace of the trembling emotion that had been there, that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so curiously was unsurpassed. That gaze pierced through like a cold needle, a smile on her face having invoked an image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Both Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. As if to remind me of the fear from that time before, Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breath. Her face filled my entire field of vision. Then, her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper. Like the Kuro Crescent moon, she grinned. I told you, Keiichi-kun. After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again. Satoshi-kun, you see, transferred out. Transferred? Meaning what? What Rena meant must have been some new definition of transfer that I was not previously aware of. My throat and lips were dried up. I couldn't even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva, which seemed that Renan saw as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees pathetically. A nod's as good as a wink to a blind horse. I don't know why I just said that. Rena and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to have been a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. I could neither stand nor escape her gaze, shooting through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hand. Right now, it was useless to me. I was like a fly caught in her web. Heavy sweat beaded all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin. But you won't, will you, Keiichi-kun? Rena finally released me from that cage of time after what felt like an eternity. But her question was missing something important and was incredibly vague. Once again, I swallowed hard, urging her on. Do what? What did she not want me to do? Transfer. Damn, you're scary! How's everybody doing? We're getting like a number of revelations here. Satoshi and I had what? All my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi, had he really been in the same situation as I was now? The friends I had gotten along with had changed suddenly, and for no reason, at least none that I had noticed. Planned to kill him? Then, fearing for his life, as I am, he got the bat to protect himself. He carried it around every day to practice his swing. Scarlet and Violet era? Nice. She hella scary? She is. And then one day, suddenly, Cricket Raid! Hello! Hello everybody. Y'all just missed a very intense scene. He transferred. My blood went cold, causing a prickling sensation to course through my veins. Starting near my heart, it radiated outwards from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Kruka Raid! Welcome in, everybody. How y'all doing? Real tense sense. Cotton Eve, grass type with 60 HP. Nice. That one's a cute one. Was Satoshi still at wherever he transferred to? Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? Hey Kruka, how you doing? Welcome in. How are you, Nochi? How you doing? How's everybody doing? How was your stream, Kruka? Triple spin does 10 times damage with 1 grass energy. Nice. Arc shows Cottony flying by berry trees. Cute. It wasn't that odd of an occurrence. Reached into my pocket and pulled out the single key attached to my fuzzy silk keychain. I stepped into the entryway just as I was about to take off my shoes. A chill ran down my spine. Someone had entered right behind me. Like a classmate, messing around, standing right up to against my back. You're kidding, right? It had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space, all the way through the door. There was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey now, Keiichi. How do you know they're there, even though they're behind you? Because I could hear the sound of flowing hair. There's no other reason. I'd hear that sound. That was the presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking. Keiichi Maibara, there's no way you could hear that. It was mostly instinct than anything else that was warning me of that presence. Common sense was telling me it was just my imagination. It was just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. But at the same time I asked myself, if there was nobody, then what was I feeling? An uncomfortable sensation crawled up my spine. Actually, wouldn't it be better if there was somebody there? If there was nobody there when you turned around, would you be able to accept that? I'd be able to answer all those questions just by looking behind me. Keiichi's a real rationalizer, huh? He's trying to think rationally about all this. From Wild Force, later released in US. Tempora Force Senses Scorch. Fire type with 140 HP. Nice. Singe with 1 fire energy. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. Haha. But I didn't have the courage to even do that simple task. Alright, I could try speaking to them. Charming Breath does 180 damage with 2 fire energy. Ooh, very nice. No problem on the raid. Anyway, I'm going well. We played Donkey Kong Bonanza with Croaking. Oh, it's Croaking. It's going pretty good. We're on chapter 11. And shit's getting real. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just as long as I didn't have to turn around. If I calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that wouldn't have solved anything. Who is it? I spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. I could almost feel them contemplating their response. I felt it. There was no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Keiichi. It's all in your head. That time I was certain I heard it. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody inhaling. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired a primal yet fitting solution to this current predicament. A scream. All the force of my body was released from my lungs and through my throat, ceasing all thought processes in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a wild house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. But darkness was there, and nothing more. Oh, sorry. Until that moment, I turned around, until I brought the area behind me into my field of vision, they were definitely there. Falling face up, my eyes traced the remnants of their presence suspended in the empty space. It couldn't be. They were invisible? They looked like they weren't there. But were they actually still standing there? Now it shows Scorch waking in the sunset of the mountainside. Aww. As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst through in a violent wave. However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. Tiny emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. In my state of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. The metal bat held firm in my right hand, as if drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remember reading something like that from a book about swordsmanship or something. I brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of that amalgamation of metal flashed as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed to the right wall, the tip rebounding violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force of the rebound into a sweep to the left. The door to the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. These two swings whipped through an empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact on the enemy. I could feel the panic emanating from that space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. I extracted the bat from the cupboard it was embedded in, and screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. Rah! My scream shook the air, imbuing with ferocious swinging with even more destructive power. Man, we're breaking stuff. Without mercy or restraint, my violent strike was certainly fatal force. Behind it, shattered the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy, but my ferocity had certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat. The invisible enemy there, but not there, dispersed. When I was certain that the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. No way had it only feigned retreat, and it was now outside my house. Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence. But it was gone. I had succeeded in fending it off. That moment, the tension drained from my body, and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All the emotions I had been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest exhaustion. Even in this moment, I remained composed. After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back, tilted my head back a little. After clearing my mind of all my idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There was definitely something there. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition. I dreamt up in my confused state, but I really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, Keiichi, my Bara. Compose yourself. But no matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon, and without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? I had just one piece. When I asked who it is, they inhaled as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. Either I'd been possessed by a supernatural phenomenon known as the Yashiro-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Ren and the rest of them doing it, but it would be solvable. Shrouded Fables, Iron Moth, Fire type with 120 HP. Suction does 30 damage with basic energy. Ooh, nice. Oishi-san said the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. But if it was a manifestation of a Yashiro-sama's curse, I wonder what would happen. Oishi-san very clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, those words were pretty dependable. But as things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, he suddenly seemed quite unremarkable. Poor Keiichi, Yashiro-sama's breathing down his sign. Yo, I heard you got the good Cheetos. And anachronism does 120 damage with 2 fire energy and 1 basic energy. Ooh, nice. If I told Oishi-san this was the work of Yashiro-sama's curse, what would happen? Couldn't imagine his reaction, but it would go without question that a void would expand rapidly between myself and Oishi-san. With me having so few allies to begin with, and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse or not, there was no merit in doing that. I'm gonna curse you, boy! So good. I'd better keep the facts of what just happened at the doorway to myself. It would be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind the clock. There was still the ever so slight possibility that I was actually confused when I thought I was composed. and I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was really what happened? I would be able to refute Oyashiro-sama's curse. But if I denied Oyashiro-sama's curse, then that would mean admitting Rena and the rest were the perpetrators. If I said that Rena and the rest weren't the perpetrators, that would mean believing in Oyashiro-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I would be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options from which I couldn't choose became a trilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Art shows a hydrographic of iron moss. Oh, cute. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back, slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what has really happened as reality. Stop thinking about anything more than that. But I couldn't help but think about it. How wonderful it would be if it turned out I was delirious and everything up until now was a figment of my imagination. Oyashiro-sama's curse wouldn't exist, and I would still be the bestest buddies with Rena and the rest. I would have to be crazy. That was the first time in my life I'd ever wished for such a thing. Ring! The phone rang noisily downstairs. From Surging Spark, Kafrigas, psychic type with 120 HP. I thought Kafrigas was a ghost type. Generally, there were no phone calls for me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I squirmed out of bed and went downstairs. Law of the Underworld, when psychic energy puts 6 damage counters on each Pokemon. Nice. So Yashiro-sama, he's making a phone call! And it's called collect! Wait. No, that might not be the right word. Hello? This is my bar residence. Keiichi? This is Mom. I intuitively had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy something. So I took the initiative. What? I don't mind having instant noodles for dinner. There's still a lot of them. And Spooky Shot does basic 100 damage. Arik shows Kafrigas and a purple vortex portal. Ooh, nice. It is collect. Okay, great. I had it right. The other day we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds actually, but they were few since the individual packs were expensive. So instead I got the whole case of mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavored ones I liked. But my parents didn't like the strong flavors and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboards are still full of them. So you see, there really isn't any need to go shopping, right? Keiichi, I'm not asking you to go out shopping. Mommy and Daddy have to go to Tokyo right now because of work. Huh? Right now? This was really abrupt. No, we're already here. We left this afternoon. It's quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Gunning full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Finished posting a meme in Discord? Awesome. In the game, the ghost types are represented as ghost type. Oh, okay. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken that longer. I'm thinking you might understand since you heard of speaking last night, but it has to do with Daddy's contract. Right now, things aren't going so smoothly. Now that she mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all that time about his job prospects weren't looking so good. Oh, Yashiro-sama's gonna get him now. Exactly. Parents aren't home, so it's prime time to get him. Oranguru, normal type with 120 HP. Ooh. Oranguru always looks like he's got some interesting stories to tell. Daddy's really sensitive about things like this, so if we leave things as they are, it will affect his work. Part of my father's particularly fragile autistic personality. His emotions change as easily as his fall sky. You can also just say you can take criticism. But something like that can be done over the phone. Keiichi, this is your father's job, so can you support him a bit, please? Anyway, it's just faster to talk about it in person, so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. As their son, there was nothing more I could say that once they started talking about work. So, we'll be back tomorrow night. Keiichi, will you be fine on your own? It's not like I'll die or anything. Keiichi, you shouldn't speak so lightly of dying. If there's something troubling you, just talk to us. I believe Mommy will be able to help you out. This kid is like 16 or something, and his parents are like referring themselves as Mommy and Daddy. It's kind of Yesterday I did bring up if I died rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. But really, I was more depressed by the fact nothing would be solved by telling them. Now you're in my power with one basic energy. Till the end of your next turn, the defending Pokemon's weakness is now normal. Oh shit. And Smack does basic energy 80 damage with 3 basic energy. Wow. But I didn't plan on dying. At least not while I still knew nothing. I would never allow it. I won't die. I won't. I'll survive even if I have to gnaw my leg off. Yeah. See you then. Tomorrow morning, make sure to wake up. And eat your breakfast. And don't forget to take a bath and brush your teeth. Yeah, see you. 2 more memes, I'm done. I'm on a roll tonight. Awesome. Rick shows a Oranguru meditating in the forest. The call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings. Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. The times they did go were normally planned out in advance. Never happened this suddenly. Couldn't say that these circumstances didn't feel strange or rather unusual. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. That was when my parents came back from when my parents came back from work. I'm a week gone. Missing. Vanished. Looking back on the series of events in the previous 5 years involving Oyashiro-sama's curse, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light on the whole house was from my room on the 2nd floor. It was the same as the broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone, and this was their chance. First I ran to the living room, flicked on the lights, and turned the TV on to a reassuring volume. Next was a study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside, it would look like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if anything was left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I need to take it down. Snatched down the laundry haphazardly and eased all traces that my mother wasn't here. We should be fine now. Ah, the garage. I hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, but they'd have gone to Okinomiya Station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This was not good. Prismatic Evolutions, Iron Boulder, Psychic type with 140 HP. Ooh. Adjusted Horn does 170 damage with 1 Psychic and Basic Energy. Ah, I need to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since I left in the afternoon, the evening paper was still out there. Ran out in the bushes watching. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the entryway. With this, for sure this time, it should be fine. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that from my little freakout was kind of bad. I'll just say I tripped and fell and the bat was eye-holding smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in its current state wasn't good. I should clean up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. Haruka shows Iron Boulder standing on a portal. Ooh. Hello? This is my bar residence. Oh, is this Keiichi-kun? Is your mother around? She isn't here at the moment. You idiot, Keiichi Maibara. Don't reveal that your parents are gone. You follow it up still. Calm down and take care of it. I think she'll be back soon. That wasn't a good response either. Now they might say they'll call again or tell her to call them when she comes back. And that's fine. It wasn't anything important. Well then, sorry for the bother. Sorry I feel beer didn't play out. Listening a sigh of relief. That was fortunate in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with more telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I needed to make up a good story and to explain that my parents weren't home, but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They were making tempura and couldn't stay away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Is that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. Houndour, dark type with 70 HP. Playful Kick does basic 20 damage with 1 dark energy. Arc shows Houndour sniffing at the ground. Oh, nice. Phone rang once again. It was like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize that it was. But since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. Prepare myself, then lifted the receiver. Hello? I stopped announcing this was my bar residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted. Hello, my apologies for calling so late. This is Oishi from the Okinomiya bookstore. Oishi-san? Is that you, my bar-san? Good evening. Good to hear you're doing well. Wait just a moment, please. I grabbed a portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was since there was no one else at home, but I wanted to be in a spot where I felt just a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san. Sorry for the wait. How are things? Anything's changed since then? Since when was that exactly? It was something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. The last time I spoke with Oishi-san was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school. I met with Oishi-san on the way back from the hospital and was heading down for lunch and had a talk. After that, Ren and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may be found out by them as well. Bronzing is still type with 130 HP. Heavy impact does 50 damage with both 1 steel and normal energy. Ooh. Hello? Can you hear me, my bar-san? Huh? Sorry. What did you say? I asked if anything changed since the last time. There wasn't an answer, so I got a bit worried. Not really. The words stopped in my throat. There was a ton of stuff that happened. A lot of it baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I might never have another chance. This night, my parents weren't home. I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all. Well, Oishi-san, it seems that someone is after me. Really? It could all just be a coincidence, but that day in school, when I was sick, the two of them came up to check on me. Which two? Rena and Mion. They started asking about how I had lunch with you. What next? They left me some mochi when they came to visit, but there was a needle inside. Fortunately, I didn't swallow it. I wonder, could that just have been a threat? About the needle. It was just one of those common sewing needles you see all the time. Let's see. Protective Bell. All your Pokemon take 10 less damage from attacks. Ooh, nice. Artwork shows Bronzewing floating in the middle of the night. There's a hole in the thread string through. Not that, my bar-san. The needle itself. That's evidence. It could be used as proof that they threatened you. Where is that needle? That's right. That's it. I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I had overlooked it out of terror. But that needle was a valuable piece of evidence. I had certainly thrown the mochi and the needle at the wall together. If it wasn't there, then it would be on the living room wall. My prudent mother had cleaned that living room wall. There was not a trace of mochi left on it. Could be that it dropped in the gap between the wall and carpet. I frantically searched, running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desks, pulling up the carpet and flapping it around. But I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It was just 2 days ago. I don't know what days I collected the burnable trash, but it may still be in the trash bin, not in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen, opened the lid of the trash pail, and poured out its contents. But even at a glance, I could tell it would be incredibly difficult to find a needle in this pile of trash. Foolishness! Clang, still a type with 90 HP. Spinning Gears does 20 damage with 1 basic energy. Oh, nice. I was looking for a needle in a trash stack. I know. I'll try running my hand through it. It was a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I will be able to find it. But bacteria! Infection! Germs! Hi, Sandy. It was a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath and started striking the pile of trash with my hand. Flew about. There was nothing more disgusting than this. But it was not the time to be concerned about such details. I continued for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. I shouldn't keep Oishi-san waiting for too long. Later, when Mom got back, I'd have to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on the notepad to fix the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? I scrawled the words with red pen, then dashed back upstairs where I had been keeping Oishi-san waiting for far too long. Hello? How did it go? I couldn't find it. I was really overwhelmed back then, and I see. It would be great if you could find it. Keep it safe. That's right. Neither wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run. Also, Oishi-san, that isn't all. Actually, this morning, that van was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances at the time. And confront those basic 40 damage with both one steel and fire. Our shows end clank floating up Anne's room. Aw, cute. Did you see the license plate? I can search it for you. From here. Damn. I just flipped out Young back at him, but I didn't get a good look at the plate. What failures on my part with the needle and the plate number. I was so focused on protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was. I'm sorry. I don't know much more about than that it was a white van. Nothing to threat about my bar-san. Anyone would be shaken up after being hit. I guess all of this really isn't a coincidence, is it? Oishi-san started to hem and haw over on the other end. Can't imagine avoiding his arms. Also, Rena is acting strange. How so? Rena said on the way home today, asking why I'm so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say it with confidence that Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew that there was more to it than him just simply disappearing. Rena knows. She knows something regarding what happened to Satoshi, the kid who was demoned away last year. What would that be exactly? Rena said I was the same as Satoshi. She said something to the effect of the way things are going. I'll end up with the same fate as Satoshi. Last is a brand new card from Scarlet and Violet, Mega Evolution. New Mega X cards that are stronger but knock out if they take free prize cards. Ooh, nice. This card is... Fate, you say. Fate, you say. Exactly what kind of fate did she say would befall you? Transferring out, she said. Transferring out? Rena said Satoshi transferred out. So, given how things are going with me, I'll transfer out too. Oishi-san let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly. My bar-san, that was probably some sort of threat. Or maybe some type of warning. I thought so too. At that point, I started to think. Would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as a machination of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Yashio-sama's curse actually existing as the only other explanation. Mega Absol EX. Dark type with 280 HP. Oh, I love Absol. Of course, I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Except Rena's strange behavior could be proof of either scenarios. Terminal period with both one dark and basic energy. Whether it was Yashio-sama's curse being real, or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all the villagers. Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? Couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. I seem to recall that Oishi-san had admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He's probably just downplaying it when he said a little. Meaning he had actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened to her at her previous school. Among other things were still unknown to me. If Rena was somebody I should suspect, no, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight, I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I had lost the security I felt when I had just by my parents being around. Claws of Darkness does 200 damage with 2 dark energy and 1 basic energy. Arc shows Mega Absol looking straight at you. Awesome. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they could easily gain entry. There was no other residences close to my bar residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wonder if I would still be here by tomorrow morning. So I had to ask, right now, because I had no idea when the next chance would come. Oishi-san, there was something I wanted to ask you about. Please don't keep anything from me. Sure, ask away. Even though he was far away on the other end of the line, this is the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask about Rena, about what happened at her previous school. Actually, regarding Rena's... I noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. Since I was so focused on the call, I hadn't paid attention to it at first. But I finally realized it was the doorbell. And I saw the Pokemon cards for now. Awesome. You got a good haul there. Time was 7 o'clock. It was past time the postman would be making a delivery. Past any sensitive time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all the work I put in making it look like my parents were home. I need to answer the door. Hello? My bar-san? Sorry. Someone seems to be at the door. I'm going to see who it is. A guest? I see. My apologies. Should we end this call for now? That would be a problem. No. I'll be back in a second. Do you mind if I just leave the phone on? It's fine. I don't mind. I dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down to the door. I needed to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called before Oishi-san did. In which case, it would be one of my neighbors who's friends with my mom. just say Mom isn't feeling well and went to bed early. That would be the easiest option. It'd be hard to ask for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. Bell continued to ring at regular intervals. If someone didn't answer after you ring the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside, I'd prepared for this moment. I tried to escape by imagining this was the easiest person to deal with, one of my mom's friends. Good evening. Rena. There shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour. The timing also made me feel uneasy, because it was just as I was about to ask what she sounded about Rena. I wish I could have chalked this up to mere coincidence. But those unsettling words from Rion several days ago echoed back to me. There's nothing this old man doesn't know. Are you alone, Rena? Yeah. Seems that Mion wasn't with her. But that didn't change the situation at all. Why did you come here? Hey, Keiichi-kun, I'd like you to open the door so we can talk. Can I come inside? I wonder. It was true that speaking through a chained door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate. But at my house, the chain has to be on at night. Don't worry about it. Then it can't be helped, I guess. Brenna pounded rather sadly. But she kept on smiling at least, and her effort to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. The devil! Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared, more than the possibility of hoodlums would assault me, was if I removed the chain. Was trusting Rena enough to move the chain, and having my friendship betrayed? As long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. Since it didn't seem like I removed the chain from her silent urging, she appeared to give up on trying to get into the entryway. Have you eaten yet, Keiichi-kun? No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't here, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home and was woken up by the phone. Didn't have a chance to eat since I used to up all that time talking. Was going to have cup noodles in any case. Just eat one whenever I wanted to. No, not yet. What about it? That good. Look here. I brought a bunch of dishes. Rena had a stick of boxes wrapped in a cloth. If I could just use your kitchen, I can heat up the miso soup and other stuff. It's fine. You don't need to do that. But there's a lot of tofu and vegetables in it. Does Keiichi-kun not like that type of stuff? I wonder. There's no way I wouldn't like that. Love miso soup with lots of ingredients. White radish, carrots, burdock, root, and potatoes, dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks incredible. I also brought rice, so if you microwave it, you can eat it really quickly. Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born here. Also, I made some more pickles. I made sand-side pickles this time. Before I moved here to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai. But I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep yet light flavor. These vegetables from the supermarket were tasteless and bland compared to these. Oh my god, she knows the best way to a man's heart. Through his belly. Also, a power cell works. If you had to describe them, they were the vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake of sansai. It's common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were, they go so well with that fluffy white rice. And also, wait, there's more. So delicious. It just seems so delicious. Farewell to my healthy self who said you'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits and she was offering such a delicious sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut and hunger reared its voracious head. Now I'm hungry. At the same time, my wariness for Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. Though the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such a sensation occurred just then. But the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. This happy Rena, speaking of this charming dinner, was dependent on one premise. And that premise was that tonight, dinner hadn't been made at my house. Meaning that it was under the assumption that my mom, should be making it, wasn't here. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom were here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact that she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange. Unless she knew. Rena. Did she know that my parents weren't home? But there was also the chance that this was a bluff. I had turned the lights on and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents were here. There was a chance that Rena was unsure if my parents were home. But I had to wonder. The laundry, the garbage, the evening paper. There were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It's hard to say that Rena didn't have the chance to determine if my parents were here or not. But there was no reason for me to confess that right now. I should try holding on to that fact as long as I could. First of all, the chain was still latched. As long as I didn't have to take it off, Rena wouldn't be able to do anything to me. I'm quite grateful, but dinner will be ready pretty soon. Huh? Is that so? Is that so? I know you went through all the effort and everything, but, well, unable to think of a good way to refuse, my words trailed off weakly. But some of this can work as side dishes, I think. I'm sorry, we have more than enough already. My mom always makes quite a few side dishes. So... Huh? You have side dishes? With a smile that bordered on a cringe, I dodged her question apologetically. The feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was serving dinner right now, but it didn't mesh well with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact. And that, I was aware of it as well. So, Keiichi-kun can cook? What did you make, I wonder? No, it's not like that. Rena had assumed out of nowhere that I made the dishes. No, not so much that I made them, but rather that my mom hadn't. Did you really make them? The side dishes? Did you, Keiichi-kun? It wasn't me who made them. My mom did. No, she's making them. Right now. So you see, I'm sorry that I can't eat what you brought. Rena fell silent at that moment. I felt that the light had suddenly disappeared from her eyes. How about I try guessing what Keiichi-kun's dinner will be? It doesn't matter what I'm going to eat. Let's see. The conversation might appear so natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. It felt like I was being interrogated. Your dinner, I wonder. Is it something that can be made with just hot water? Hey now, stop with the insults. I can't believe you'd belittle my mom's extravagant dinner like that. Tickets sold out, full capacity already. It's that amazing. Tried my best to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth quite right. So instead, I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. But Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that silliness. Keiichi-kun, did your mother really leave you dinner? No, you see, she didn't leave me dinner. She's making it right now. It's almost time for dinner. Rena had taken that assertion of mine that my mother was home making dinner right now, and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became. Hey, Keiichi-kun. That moment, an uncomfortable chill crept in from the gap in the doorway. Is your mom home? I wonder. I couldn't keep up the charade anymore. Rena. She knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I'd come too far to admit that now. Oh boy, yep. Anyway, my parents were here, and we'd be having dinner soon. That was the situation I concocted. So I answered. I told her she was here. She's here, of course. I could feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes were becoming more frigid, piercing me with their gelid glare. Why? Huh? What do you mean? I tried acting casual, but the facade had torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. That look, it informed me that Rena's response was faster than she could open her mouth. Why have you been lying to me? I wonder. I'm not lying. That's a lie, isn't it? It's not a lie. Lies! Rena's outburst sent a jolt surging through my body. Rena and I were separated by what few inches that slightly ajar but still chained door could afford. But despite that, I still was being cornered. My house, which I'd considered a safe haven up until now, had become more like a dark alleyway where no one could save me. She's got him by the nuts! Shall I guess your dinner, Keiichi-kun? Let's see. I knew now that Ren had already known my parents would not be here tonight. But it was so strange that it had come to this. Even if she somehow knew my parents weren't home, there was no way she would be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. What Rena said she'd guess. How could she guess it? How could she know it was instant cup noodles? That's right, isn't it? That I was going to eat. Wait, the cooking repertoire of a man who can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. Looking at it statistically, it was the most probable answer. That didn't mean she was guessing. I don't think you'll be full with just noodles. I think you'll be having rice and stuff. I think having rice and stuff will definitely hit the spot. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. This was just a coincidence. Brenda was just reading certain tales of mine. So the fact that she was inferring what I was thinking alarmed me. But it wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. If it was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that. They couldn't possibly exist. Do you like them? Do you mean noodles? No? Rena indicated that the point of my answer was addressing my answer. The point my answer was addressing was wrong. Her rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken. Sorry, Rena. What did you say just now? Huh? About what? Just now, you asked me if there was something that I liked, didn't you? It wasn't long before I regretted how carelessly I pushed forward with that question. It was such a simple answer. That's why I wasn't able to comprehend it. Pork bone and ginger flavor. I wondered how I appeared in the moments. My mind was completely blank until the moment I was able to recover. Sorry. As my field of view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction, I lost all sense of balance. Why do you know that? I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzied state I was in. How could Rena even know this? Not even caring as I mashed my head against the door, I fixated my gaze on Rena. But she didn't even flinch when she saw me do that. I certainly did buy them. I bought a bunch at once. I bought a whole case. How could you know that? Why, I wonder? Quite strange, isn't it? Isn't it? How could you dodge the question at a time like this? The chain of the door were suddenly no longer protecting me. How do you know? Why do you know? Answer me. You bought them at 7th Mart, didn't you? A shiver ran up my spine. I tried covering it up with an angry facade. Like I said, why do you know that? I was behind you, following you the whole time. What are you saying? I couldn't understand what she was trying to say. Why she was saying she'd been following me all this time. That's because Rena was right behind Keiichi-kun's back the whole time. that night. The night I was absorbed in my phone conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't even sense her being there. Standing behind the door. Standing behind me. Standing there. Just like that? When Keiichi-kun was picking out noodles, I was watching the entire time. You picked out so many different flavors, didn't you? Then your mom got angry. If you were going to pick the expensive ones, you should just pick one type, she said. Then Keiichi-kun picked up the big box of pork bone and ginger flavor that he loved so much. Didn't he? I like it too. Pork bone noodles. But I never can eat a whole big bowl by myself. My brain was paralyzed, dulling my senses. It might have been a defense mechanism to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatizing levels. With the fear being diminished, the fog enveloping my mind was cleared away. Then, I couldn't understand what Rena was saying. I started to put meaning behind her words. Even so, my fear hadn't subsided completely. It was like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, eyes closed so I didn't have to look down. It didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards. And as I withdrew, Rena advanced. So, Keiichi-kun, can you open this? We can eat dinner together. I'm sure it's going to be delicious, so, okay? Rena's pale, slender fingers squirmed through the crack in the door, one at a time, as if they had a mind of their own, rattling the chain. If she had unlatched the chain from the door, a feeling of terror would have exploded within me. But Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. She was doing her hardest to light the fuse to the powder keg in my heart. Trying again and again. Clatter, clatter. But it doesn't light. It doesn't light. Open up, Keiichi-kun. Please go away. I beg you. Please go away. How can he say something so mean, I wonder? I wonder. Please go away. Go away. The powder keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering. Just exploded. I tackled the door. The force through the door had knocked Rena momentarily off balance. I couldn't hesitate here. I grabbed onto the doorknob with both hands, planted my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. That slamming sound I so desired didn't happen. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance keeping the door from closing. And the source of that was Rena's fingers. Each of those fingers wiggling, squirming around, like tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack in the doorway. It hurts! It hurts, Keiichi-kun! It hurts! It wasn't a harsh shriek, more of a yelp. She was trying to keep back. Go away, go away, go away! I kept on pulling on the door with all my might. I didn't even realize that if I didn't loosen my pull on the door, at least momentarily, Rena wouldn't be able to pull her fingers out. And that was why the door wasn't closing. It really hurts, Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry if I was messing around too much. I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change what she had done up until now. It didn't change anything. It hurts. It hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go away, go away, go away! Rena couldn't leave even if she wanted to, because I trapped her fingers. Rena's white fingers became deep red and were no longer even squirming. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go away, go away, go away! I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain, like a broken record. She was intent on repeating it over and over. Go away, go away. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it! Put on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were able to somehow slip out of their imprisonment in the doorway. The moment that happened, the door closed soundly, and I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I locked the door immediately. I made a loud clunk, my voice voicing my rejection to Rena. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry. Open up, Keiichi-kun. Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely, and nothing else. After confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entryway. On the other side, I could hear Rena echoing her apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Those pitiful words. They would be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all. But it wasn't out of any sort of malice. I just felt a sort of hazy sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. Before Mion had threatened me at this doorway, saying there was nothing she didn't know. Just now, at the same place, Rena told me the same thing. My feeble attempts to disguise the fact that my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. I should have just pretended to be out and not even opened the door. My meager plans hadn't helped at all. Heavy stuff, and oh my god, her fingers. Can you hear me, Zawa? It was impossible to outwit them. Even though I was on the other side of the door, I wanted to get as far away from Rena as possible. 1 step, 2 steps. With each one, I hear her sniffling apologies become more distant. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed. It was the receiver. I finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Could have been that my clock had run out of batteries. I had talked with Rena for so long. How did almost no time pass? The hand on the clock was ticking forward. 1 second, every second as usual. As I put the still warm receiver to my ear, time which felt frozen began moving once again. Hello? Oishi-san? Sorry to keep you waiting. No, not at all. I didn't wait that long. It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oishi-san was different. Over the phone, I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something. Drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was. Rena came just now. Did she come to play? I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san. But I didn't need to right now. Right now, I needed to know about Rena. That's right. I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena, but Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false? I couldn't tell. One thing I knew was that the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I might be able to figure out something if I asked Oishi-san about her. Up until now, I regretted it whenever I forced myself to ask things I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you'd say I'd hit rock bottom. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No, rather, I wanted to know more. If there was anything beyond this point, I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't about the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Now, without knowing anything, I definitely won't. Regarding Rena Ryugu-san, I did a bit of digging. Yeah, well, it wasn't much. I understand though Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit meant I dug too deep. Be hard to discuss with you since you're her friend. I want to know everything from your research. I don't think you'll be very interested in what I have to say though. Oishi-san. I spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue. And then I said it. I think Rena Ryugu is suspicious. Even if the past incidents were from Yashiro-sama's curse, Rena is involved. Do you have some sort of proof that makes you believe Rena-san is suspicious? The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective. I only have circumstantial evidence. I see. I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Pulling on the fishing line when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait. Disappointed, but ready to cast the line once more. That's how it seemed. Oishi-san, you can't do anything without physical proof, can you? What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof. That stuck a barb in there. I stuck a barb in there. As Oishi-san loved the roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine. It's fine, my Bara-san. I'll protect you. That was not the least bit reassuring. Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. But that was all I was to him. Whether I'm alive or dead may be of no concern to your investigation, but it's all over for me when I die. Oishi-san went silent on the other end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed was to relate to Oishi-san that I was currently in a dangerous position. So please, tell me. Tell me about Rena. Satoshi transferred out. Not too far in the future, I'll probably also do what Rena called transferring out as well. But you won't be able to find my corpse. You haven't been able to find Satoshi's body yet. Alright, my Bara-san, please calm down. I was already suppressing my agitation, even without Oishi-san having to tell me. It wouldn't solve anything if I continued to scream about my mistrust in the police. It would seem that I could only depend on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. Then at least I wanted to know about what happened before Rena transferred schools. You're aware that this won't be very interesting, right? Oishi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved. Right now, to me, there's nothing that I'll find uninteresting. please. Oh man, it's getting like really close to when I end stream and my throat's starting to like kind of hurt, but I also really want to finish this chapter. I'll keep going for a bit, and I might have to skip the tips for tonight. There are a few things I need you to agree to. Okay? Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? It might not be true. I don't understand what you mean. There isn't one main investigation for the mysterious chain of deaths in Hinamizawa. Each one is treated as its own individual case. Thus, Rena Ryugu has never been linked to any of the investigations. Basically, you see, this is an investigation of Rena done by the police. And this is a personal inquiry. And is a personal inquiry is what you're telling me? This will make things a lot quicker since you understand. All of this is either from phone calls, meetings, and interviews. So they aren't corroborated. I'm asking you to take this with a grain of salt, is what I mean. Do we have an agreement? All of it is just from what you heard? Yes, my apologies if it's on my personal investigation, you see. That thing, before you said you saw Rena's chart, didn't you? I'm sure I heard you say that. Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the line. I told you that too. Please pretend you didn't hear anything about that. I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations and responsibilities. I also didn't care that if there was no proofs. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire after all. Please tell me, Oishi-san. Understood. Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. Yeah, this is starting to take a bit of a toll on me. But I'm like really close to the end of the chapter. It seemed Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. She moved to Ibaraki Prefecture after she finished elementary school. Then, following that, right after transferring, an unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school's windows happened. Then Rena confided to the doctor. It was a Yashiro-sama. That was all he knew. There isn't much difference between what I know and what you know, my Bar-san. Then what part did you investigate further? I didn't need to ask. It was an incident that happened just after she transferred. The incident Rena was responsible for, and what she divulged to the doctor afterwards, correct? Yes. After you learned about that, you started suspecting Ren and the others, didn't you? Yes, I did suspect them. So they're the ones, after all? And no, oh shit, this is reversed. No, that's not what I meant by suspect them. Oishi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but these particular words were less than reassuring. Then, who did you suspect? That it was Oyashiro-sama. Huh? That Oyashiro-sama's curse really exists. Yeah, right. Oishi-san's laugh was quite dry. Certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oishi-san resumed the conversation about the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance. The course of events up until it started delving into Rena's past. Just then, there was thunder in the distance, and heavy rain started pouring down. Like the game? Jason! Came without warning. Rain so heavy it felt like it could beat you down. I had left the window over my room a crack to let the heat out. The violent wind danced into my room, making the curtains flap wildly. What is it? Nothing. It just suddenly started raining heavily. Sorry, please continue. I got up while still on the phone, closed the window. I said at the beginning there was an incident, but because neither the school nor the victims filed charges, the police were never involved. So you see, those involved were very reluctant to talk. Regardless of there being a victim who had one eye beaten so badly that it had permanent damage. It could have been the school or possibly some individual who made arrangements to keep this from going public. Also, the psychologist was very strict about their professional ethics. Hello? My bar-san? Can you hear me? There was a figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Even in this torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In this shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Just standing there, both arms dangling at her side. In one hand, there was a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth. Her eyes focused on my room, focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion. It was as if she had something to chew in her mouth, but with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be that at this time I was more enthralled by Rena instead of the shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san? If it hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. Then I wouldn't have noticed Rena, nor would I have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something. She was repeating something. What was it? What was she repeating to me? What was she saying? And why was I right up against the window, fixated on her? Hello? Hello? My bar-san? Can you hear me? Hello? I'm sorry. Oh? My bar-san? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hello? My bar-san? What's the matter? Even in this torrential downpour, Rena was still apologizing. The other self inside me drew the curtain hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. But even doing that, Rena's relentless apologies still reached my ears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I forgive you for this, will you forgive me for that? Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Damn it. Why did I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can't you forgive? I won't be killed. If you won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. I won't forgive. I won't forgive. Won't forgive. Won't forgive. Won't forgive. Won't forgive. My bar-san. If you can hear me, then please respond. Hello? Never forgive. Oh man, my throat. Alright, we have 2 tips now, but I'm gonna have to amend the next part. Let's go ahead and save. Next part, I believe, is gonna be the final chapter for final chapter for this part of Higurashi. So, gotta do a quick stretch. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. So, thank you for joining and thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if y'all want to, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!